5 essential minerals for muscle growth. If you practice weightlifting and have ever looked for information about diet, you know there's an obsession with macronutrients. Practitioners spend hours calculating grams of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, weighing each meal with almost scientific precision. Social media is full of influencers showing their perfectly proportioned meal prep containers, always highlighting the importance of hitting your macros. And mind you, I'm not saying this is wrong, but while this culture of meticulous counting spreads, a crucial aspect of nutrition for hypertrophy is often neglected: minerals. Surprisingly, even some nutritionists dedicate little attention to these fundamental micronutrients during the dietary planning for their patients. Mineral deficiency can cause a series of problems that directly affect not only your general health, but also your progress in the gym. Think about dental problems that appear seemingly out of nowhere: unexplained hair loss, persistent pain in bones and joints, and that frustrating feeling of reduced physical performance even when you're faithfully following your training routine. These signs may indicate that, despite all your dedication to macronutrients, your body is screaming for attention in another department. Therefore, in this video, you will see 5 essential minerals that create the perfect environment for muscle growth and optimized physical performance. However, before we talk about specific minerals, we need to address a common myth in the fitness world: the idea that a multivitamin solves everything. These colorful supplements, packaged in promising bottles, seem to offer a practical solution: a single pill containing all the necessary micronutrients. Convenient? Yes. Ideal? Not always. The fundamental problem with multivitamins is that they follow a generic approach to a highly individualized need. When you consume a multivitamin, you're ingesting various nutrients simultaneously, including those your body already has in adequate amounts. This can create a nutritional imbalance, where certain minerals compete for absorption, reducing the overall effectiveness of the supplement. Additionally, excess of some minerals can be as problematic as deficiency. For example, elevated iron levels can be toxic for certain people, especially men who naturally eliminate less iron than women. Similarly, excess zinc can interfere with copper absorption, creating a new deficiency. The truly scientific approach begins with detailed blood tests. A good nutrition professional should request a complete analysis of your mineral levels before prescribing any supplementation. If your nutritionist establishes a meal plan or recommends supplements without this individual database, question this approach. Precision nutrition requires specific knowledge about your body. Therefore, before yielding to the temptation of a quick solution, seek to discover exactly what your body needs, and only then consider targeted supplementation. Mineral number 1, magnesium. This underestimated mineral participates in more than 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, including those directly related to protein synthesis and energy production, 2 fundamental processes for those seeking hypertrophy. When we talk about muscle contraction, magnesium works in partnership with calcium in a delicate balance system. While calcium stimulates contraction, magnesium facilitates muscle relaxation. This balance is essential not only for efficient movements during training, but also to avoid painful cramps and spasms after exercise. An imbalance in this relationship can significantly compromise your performance and recovery. Magnesium also plays a crucial role in the production and utilization of ATP, the energy molecule that fuels each repetition of your workout. Adequate magnesium levels ensure that your body can produce and use energy efficiently, allowing for more intense and productive workouts. Studies show that athletes with optimal magnesium levels display greater endurance and strength generation capacity. Magnesium deficiency manifests in ways that many practitioners erroneously attribute to other factors: chronic fatigue that persists even after adequate rest, slow and painful muscle recovery, nighttime cramps that interrupt restorative sleep, and even mood alterations that can affect your motivation to train. Recent research suggests that approximately 68% of Western adults do not consume the recommended amount of this essential mineral. In the hormonal context, magnesium also positively influences testosterone levels. Studies show that magnesium supplementation in athletes with deficiency can significantly increase levels of this hormone, creating a more favorable environment for hypertrophy. Fortunately, incorporating food sources rich in magnesium into your diet is relatively simple. Foods such as dark green leaves like spinach and kale, pumpkin seeds, almonds and other nuts, whole grains and dark chocolate are excellent sources of this mineral. A portion of 3.5 ounces of almonds, for example, provides approximately 270 milligrams of magnesium, almost 70% of an adult's daily requirement. For those with restrictive diets or with greater need due to intense training, supplementation can be beneficial. Magnesium citrate and magnesium glycinate are forms well absorbed by the organism, generally recommended for athletes. The typical dosage varies between 300 to 400 milligrams daily, preferably divided throughout the day for better absorption. However, always consult a health professional before starting any supplementation, as excessive doses can cause adverse effects such as diarrhea and abdominal discomfort. Number 2. Zinc. Despite being needed in relatively small amounts, one of the most relevant functions of zinc for weightlifting practitioners is directly related to protein synthesis, the fundamental process for muscle hypertrophy. Zinc acts as an essential cofactor for more than 300 enzymes, including those responsible for DNA transcription and protein synthesis. Without adequate levels of this mineral, your body simply cannot efficiently translate protein intake into new muscle tissue, no matter how much protein you consume. In the hormonal context, a study published in the Journal of Exercise Physiology demonstrated that athletes with zinc deficiency showed a significant reduction in testosterone levels after intense exercises, compromising both performance and muscle recovery. Additionally, zinc is fundamental for the immune system, an aspect frequently neglected by athletes focused exclusively on hypertrophy. An immune system compromised by zinc deficiency results in greater susceptibility to infections, increasing time away from the gym and hampering your consistency in training. The signs of zinc deficiency are varied and often confused with other problems: slow wound healing, reduced taste and smell, hair loss, white spots on nails, reduced appetite, and crucially for athletes, decreased physical performance and prolonged recovery. Most of these signs appear gradually, causing many practitioners to normalize these conditions as part of the intense training process. There are various food sources rich in zinc that can be easily incorporated into the diet. Oysters are, by far, the most concentrated source of this mineral. A simple average portion can contain more than 500% of the daily requirement. Other excellent sources include red meats, especially lean cuts like round steak and sirloin, seafood like shrimp and crab, pumpkin seeds, and legumes like chickpeas and lentils. If diet is not sufficient, especially for athletes with high metabolic demand, supplementation can be considered. Forms such as zinc picolinate and chelated zinc present better bioavailability. Typical dosages vary between 15 to 30 milligrams daily, but it's crucial to consult a health professional before starting any supplementation, since excess zinc can interfere with the absorption of other important minerals, such as copper and iron, creating new nutritional imbalances. Before we continue to the third mineral, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to correct and science-based information is what will make you progress in the long term in the weightlifting world. Number 3. Calcium. When we think of calcium, the first association we make is with bone health, and not without reason. Approximately 99% of body calcium is stored in our bone structure. However, reducing this mineral to just this role would be ignoring its crucial influence on athletic performance and muscle growth. Muscle contraction, the fundamental mechanism of every movement performed in the gym, directly depends on calcium. When you perform a repetition of bench press or squat, each activated muscle fiber requires the release of calcium ions to initiate the contraction process. Without adequate levels of this mineral, contraction force decreases significantly, compromising both immediate performance and the stimuli necessary for long-term hypertrophy. Beyond contraction itself, calcium actively participates in the transmission of nerve impulses to muscles. This efficient neural communication is essential for adequate recruitment of motor units during compound exercises and for maintaining appropriate technique under heavy loads. Athletes with calcium deficiency frequently report decreased motor coordination and movement precision, factors that increase injury risks and reduce training efficiency. The relationship between calcium and muscle growth goes beyond these immediate aspects. A study published in the International Journal of Sport Nutrition and Exercise Metabolism showed that athletes with adequate calcium intake presented superior markers of protein synthesis after resistance training, compared to participants with low intake of this mineral. Calcium deficiency initially manifests in subtle ways that many weightlifting practitioners disregard. Frequent cramps during or after intense workouts, involuntary muscle contraction, and prolonged recovery. In the long term, chronic deficiency compromises bone density, creating literally fragile foundations for muscle development. The dietary sources of calcium go far beyond dairy products, although these remain excellent options. Milk, yogurt, and cheeses provide highly bioavailable calcium associated with proteins of high biological value, a particularly advantageous combination for weightlifting practitioners. For those with lactose intolerance, dark green vegetables like kale, broccoli, and arugula, sardines with bones, and almonds offer viable alternatives. The daily recommendation of calcium for adults varies between 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams, with athletes subjected to intense resistance training possibly benefiting from the upper limit of this range. It's important to emphasize that calcium absorption depends on adequate levels of vitamin D, another nutrient frequently deficient in urban populations with limited sun exposure. To optimize absorption, specialists recommend distributing calcium intake throughout the day in portions of approximately 500 milligrams, instead of concentrating it in a single meal. This strategy maximizes utilization by the organism and reduces losses through excretion. Mineral number 4, iron. Iron plays an absolutely central role in energy metabolism and muscle work capacity, acting as an essential component of hemoglobin, the protein responsible for oxygen transport in the bloodstream. For weightlifting practitioners, the importance of this mineral transcends this basic function, directly influencing the capacity to perform intense workouts and recover adequately between sessions. During high-intensity exercises, such as series close to concentric failure, oxygen consumption by muscles increases dramatically. In this scenario, adequate iron levels ensure efficient oxygen transport to working muscle fibers, optimizing ATP production through the aerobic pathway, crucial even in predominantly anaerobic exercises such as strength training. Research demonstrates that even mild iron deficiencies, before the development of clinical anemia, can reduce muscle work capacity by up to 30%. Iron deficiency initially manifests through non-specific symptoms that many athletes confuse with overtraining: persistent fatigue disproportionate to the effort exerted, prolonged recovery between workouts, palpitations during previously well-tolerated exercises, and unexplained drop in performance. In more advanced cases, paleness, brittle nails, dizziness, and cold intolerance may arise, signs frequently ignored in the gym environment, but which signal significant compromise of functional capacity. A crucial aspect about iron is the significant difference in needs between men and women of reproductive age. Due to menstrual losses, female athletes have substantially elevated risk of deficiency, requiring approximately 18 milligrams daily compared to 8 milligrams for adult men. Epidemiological studies suggest that up to 35% of female athletes present some degree of iron deficiency, frequently underdiagnosed. Iron food sources can be divided into two categories: heme iron, present in foods of animal origin, and non-heme iron, found in plant sources. Lean red meats such as round steak and filet mignon, beef and chicken liver, and seafood like mussels and oysters represent excellent sources of heme iron. For vegetarians and vegans, legumes such as lentils and black beans, pumpkin seeds, tofu, and dark green vegetables like spinach provide non-heme iron, whose absorption can be optimized when consumed with foods rich in vitamin C. This is one of the minerals where self-medication should be rigorously avoided. Excess iron causes significant toxicity, with damage to organs such as the liver and heart. Supplementation should be initiated only after laboratory confirmation of deficiency, under appropriate medical supervision. Mineral 5, potassium. The primary function of potassium occurs in the hydroelectrolytic balance of muscle cells. Together with sodium, it establishes a fundamental electrochemical gradient for the conduction of nerve impulses and subsequent muscle contraction. This delicate balance determines the speed and efficiency with which your muscles respond to neural commands during complex exercises, directly influencing aspects such as strength, power, and motor coordination. Besides its role in nerve conduction, potassium actively participates in the regulation of cell volume, a critical factor for weightlifting practitioners. When levels are adequate, muscle cells maintain optimal hydration, creating an environment conducive to protein synthesis and maximizing the visual effect of pump during training. Research demonstrates that the state of cellular hydration functions as an anabolic signaler, influencing various metabolic pathways related to hypertrophy. Potassium deficiency manifests through signs that many athletes erroneously attribute to other factors: unexplained muscle weakness, especially evident in the final series of training, frequent cramps during high-intensity exercises, compromised recovery between series, and fatigue disproportionate to the effort made. Fortunately, incorporating food sources rich in potassium is relatively simple. Bananas are the best-known source, but not necessarily the most concentrated. Sweet potatoes, avocados, spinach, yogurt, salmon, and white beans offer significant amounts of this mineral, easily incorporable into the diet of weightlifting practitioners. The daily recommendation for active adults is approximately 3,500 to 4,700 milligrams, a value considerably higher than that consumed by the general population. If you liked this and want to continue progressing in the weightlifting world, don't forget to check out the video where we address 11 common mistakes that throw your training in the trash. It's appearing right now on the screen. Thank you for watching this far, and may God bless you, my friend.